It's time for Soul Patch Reviews.
Okay.
So this week, I've got another great one, and this one I'm just gonna go ahead and say right now, this drama is probably my favorite of the year, if not one of my favorite Korean dramas yet.
Wow.
This
Better
one
than
was
the
this one
red
was
sleeve?
amazing.
This is
For the types of dramas that I like, this was just because Red Sleeve was so serious, and this one's like half comedy, and so this one
okay.
just knocked it out of the park. Red Sleeve was amazing. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna talk any shit about Red Sleeve. That was a great show. It was very well executed, but this show is just more fun to watch. And so this one is called Kim Kwajang, which is basically means Chief Kim. Kwajang, like Kwajang Nim, Timjang Nim, right? There's the different names for positions in the office. So
Sure.
Kim Kwajang, and it's the English title. I've seen it actually as a couple of different things. I've seen the main title is called Chief Kim because his position in the office is chief. His family name is Kim, Chief Kim. I've also seen it titled as Good Manager. I've also seen it titled Show Me
Not a
the
good
Money.
title. Show me the
Uh,
money. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
which that one almost makes a little sense, but it's a bit cheesy. Chief
Yeah.
Kim though is just, I mean, that's a direct translation from the Korean one. It's yeah, Kim Kwajang, Chief Kim. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And this is also a couple of years old. This was from 2017. So not that old,
Not
but I guess
not
that
old.
that
Yeah.
already is 5 years at this point. It's crazy what the time
Yeah.
has. But so this one, my wife wanted to watch. She found this one because the King character from Red Sleeve, remember, Lee Jae-hoon,
Hmm.
he plays one of the roles in this one, and so my wife kind of followed that actor, I think, in Lee Jun-ho. I'm sorry, my wife is correcting me. Lee
Okay.
Jae-hoon is the director. Lee Jun-ho is the actor.
This
My
was
bad.
the he's from the 2 p.m. In the
Yes,
boy
exactly.
group.
He was
Okay.
the
Okay.
2 p.m. And so this is one of his earlier dramas, and he's not the main character this time, but he's one of the main supporting roles in it.
Hmm.
And he was in this, but the main actor is Namgung Min, who plays Chief Kim, who plays Kim Kwajang. And this is a modern one. This is an office drama. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of office dramas in
Absolutely.
Korean
Yeah.
TV as well. And this one is just great. It's a show about office politics, and again, like I said last week, it deals a lot with corruption and how
Yeah.
the higher ups are controlling everything for their own, and they're embezzling money, and how they even control, like, politics, and how there's, the like they have people killed, and like the Jable companies and stuff, and it's deals a lot with that kind of corruption. But it's a fun office drama, and it deals with that weird office drama and those weird politics things in a really fun way, because you've got the main character, and this is actually similar to Chuno that I talked about last time, where the main character, he starts off as a bad guy,
Hmm.
right? So Kim Kwajang, he's basically an accountant, but he's an accountant for gangsters. And so
Hmm.
he's like helping gangsters like embezzle their money, and he's an amazing accountant, basically. Is what he's like, amazing with numbers. And
Yeah.
so the gangsters, like, they're like, here, you help us embezzle the money. So he's trying to save, and he's embezzling money from the gangsters, of course, but
But
he's also cooking their books.
he has the wrong pedigree. Like he comes from the wrong family, the wrong side of the tracks, all that sort of
Exactly,
stuff.
like he
But he's
went to like
brilliant.
yeah, he went to like a no-name university or something
Right.
like that, and so he
Okay.
couldn't get like a proper job. He's
The
from like a small
underdog
town, like,
story, the
exactly.
anti-hero, those are very popular themes in
Yeah.
Korean dramas, I think.
And
Yeah.
then he basically gets a job at this big corporation. It would be like, the equivalent of like a Lotte or Hyundai. It's called TQ Corporation.
Hmm.
And he gets a job there through like this weird hiring process. And so even though he's not qualified technically to work there, I mean, he is. And so he originally gets a job. He's like, I'm going to go to this big corporation. He's like, I'm going to embezzle the shit out of this guy's, like, I'm going to take all their money because I'm a bad guy. Right? And I'm
Right.
trying to steal money because I want to leave Korea. He's like, I want to move to Denmark. That was his goal in it. But then in the first few episodes, things just keep happening where he just ends up being a good guy. Like, it almost happens accidentally. Like one
Hmm.
time someone is about to get hit by a car, and he slips on some ice and saves them, like pushes them out of the way, and so suddenly he's the hero, and he's like, wait, I'm a hero now.
Yeah.
And
This
so
feels good.
through a
Yeah.
series of somewhat accidental and or at least unplanned events, he ends up turning into a good guy. Like at another point, a couple of the female characters, they're pissing off the corporation, and so the bodyguards are like, harassing him, and he looks back and he's just like, I don't want to get involved. You can tell he's still kind of a bad guy. He's like looking out for himself. He's like, I don't want to get involved. He's like, you're gonna bring up my violent side. He's like, you can't sit back and watch these women be pushed around and literally
Yeah.
shoved on. And he's like, oh, he sighs to himself, and he's like, and he suddenly, shows him make a fist, and he runs over and beats the security guards up.
Right.
So he slowly becomes a good guy, a good character over it. And it's kind of, it has some similarities to a lot of the like crime dramas or something that you might see, where something bad happens and
Yeah.
then he figures out a new way and he plays some 3D chess, and then the other team is doing some more 3D chess, and like they're all just like fighting each other back and forth and back and forth, and then suddenly he's like, no, I've got the perfect plan, and it all
Reminds me of
together.
a movie called Get Shorty with John Travolta. He's also a bad guy, but he's also the hero. So he's kind of an anti-hero, but he's also, he's manipulating everybody and playing three-dimensional chess, and
I will say that
criminals, the good guys.
Manipulating Kim Kwajong stops manipulating people pretty early on, and he does become just a straight up good guy pretty early. Like, well, it's a 20 episode show. Probably by episode 5 or 6, he's pretty clearly, not a bad guy anymore. Sure. He's still looking out for himself, but he's definitely not a bad guy anymore.
Right.
This is also a great show because it's just funny. I've may have complained about this a little bit during our TV show episode. Finding good sitcoms in Korea is really tough these days. A lot of the humor shows are, like the just live talent programs, right? And so we found this, and it's hilarious. There's the jokes in it, the characters in it are great. It's really, really fun. My wife and I were cracking up so many times.
See, and that's not understood by a lot of people. Assume like, when you watch the traditional Korean, the reality shows that you're talking about, where it's just the personality of the entertainer, it's like, anybody wearing a dress and a wig is going to get a laugh. There's no inherent good writing or talent embedded in that. That's just, you just look like a clown. But the fact that this one actually has written jokes, like they're well acted, and they pay off.
Very well done. The comedy, my wife and I still quote a couple of the things walking around to each other. It's been a few weeks since we finished the show, and we'll mention something to each other. Like the jokes stick with you. They're great. It's really, really well done.
It's funny, you have to go to the dramas to get the comedy, the good comedy, the sophisticated comedy, the real comedy.
Right. Yeah, I wish there were more proper sitcoms. Like we did watch a few sitcoms a couple years ago, but they're already old. Like there hasn't been a proper sitcom in quite a while in Korea, unfortunately. But this was great. This scratched all the itches for us. It was drama. It had like an interesting story, but was really funny. Another interesting thing about this is, and another reason I really like it, I'm not a big fan of romance, and this show had no romance. There's a couple of characters, a couple of times where you think like, oh, maybe these two might get together, or maybe these two might get together, but then it doesn't. Like even at the end of the show, a couple of characters that you thought might have worked, like nope, they just leave. They're just like friends. They're just like, see you next time, like. And
I love it.
So
Great.
It's great. But I will add to this that even though there's no romance, there is a fantastic bromance.
Bromance. Okay.
There's a great bromance. Actually, my wife was telling me early on that the main character, Kim Kwajong, and Lee Jun-ho's character, who was Seo Yul, those two actors actually got the couple award at the award ceremony. And it's funny because these two actors their two characters are like the opposites of each other. Like they're the ones that are competing against each other through most of the show. And so
Yeah.
we're watching, we're like, what's going to happen? How is this going to turn around so that they become kind of on the same team? But even when they're competing against each other, even when they're quote unquote enemies in here, their interactions with each other are just so quick, and the way that they like pick on each other while yelling at each other, not really yelling at each other, but while like arguing and fighting.
Yeah.
There's the chemistry between these two characters was just great.
Sounds like
I mean,
really good casting.
yeah.
Then they've cast
Yeah.
the parts perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so again, Lee Jun-ho really rocked his role very well, and Nam Kung-min, I've never seen this guy. This was my first time seeing him, and I've got some serious respect for him. He knocked this character out. I loved his Kim Kwajang,
Right.
his Chief Kim. It was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Great
very cool.
casting on this.
Yeah.
The comedy again is just awesome. So yeah, this is a great show. It's paced really, really well. There's, it comes up, there's like a problem and a solution and a problem and a solution, a problem and a solution. The ending, again, just without any spoilers, the ending was satisfying. It was actually a good ending. And I complained about this last time, where a lot of Korean shows don't have a happy ending. And this one, I wouldn't necessarily say, I mean, it is generally a happy ending. The bad guys get what's coming to them, and the good guys more or less get what's coming to them, but not 100% in the way you would expect. But it leaves you very satisfied. It's like, yeah, cool. That character is now where he should be, both for the good and the bad guys. Like, that bad guy is now where he should be. That good guy, yeah, he that's where he should be now as well, in that position.
I love when their endings are satisfying like that. That's okay. It means you told the story right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. We were almost disappointed that this, actually, we weren't, not almost, we were disappointed that this show ended, because we just want more of
That's
it.
great.
This was a great show. So this one gets an A+. This is a
plus.
straight, like,
this is an out of the park home run, right?
Yeah, this is a
into
grand
the
slam.
parking lot. Yeah,
this one pulled it through for us. So I would highly recommend this one for any listeners. Kim Kwajang, Chief Kim. It's got all of the elements that you want, unless you're big. I know a lot of people love the romance, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not my style, but even if you don't like, or even if you want romance, this show not having it doesn't take away from it.
Yeah.
And so this one, I really recommend, Jack, take some time with your wife, watch this show, because it's fun. You'll crack up. It's a good, like, stress relieving show.
This sounds like this is number one on my list of what you've recommended so far. So awesome.
I would put it there. Yeah,
cool, man.
So everyone
Thank
else,
you.
check it out. Yeah, Kim Kwajang, Chief Kim.
All right, sounds great. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Yep.